early shutdown are up to date. The deadline, midnight tonight. Chris Matthews, you're a veteran of Washington. You have been in and covered fights like this before, with one exception. We've never seen a fight like this before with a role played like the one right now by Elon Musk.
No, nothing like it. You've heard of a bull in a china shop. This guy's an elephant in a china shop. These negotiations between the House Democrats and the House Republicans are very fragile. There's a one vote majority for the Republicans. The voters voted for that. They didn't, but they really voted to divide the House of Representatives effectively. And so that deal has to hold. You have to have Democrats aboard, because there's 30 or 40 Republicans who will not vote with their party, that will always vote against any extension of the debt ceiling or anything like that that includes more government spending. And so you need Democrats. It has to happen that way. And then along comes Musk with all his trillions of dollars, basically, doesn't know anything about civics. The House is divided. You have to make a deal. He doesn't understand that. He has thrown this whole thing up in the air, and it's going to have probably a government shutdown tonight because of him personally.
So, Claire McCaskill, let's talk about this moment. First of all, let's not lose sight of the real implications if the government does shut down, people who will not be paid just before the holidays. We also should note about how this seems to be offering a preview of what's to come. And this talk of a unified Republican government, well, right now it seems like it's just a recipe for more chaos.
Yeah, well, first, Trump looked tiny yesterday. He looked like a very little man. And that has got to be bugging him big time. He not only had to follow Musk's lead, he then couldn't deliver votes at a time when he's trying to convince everyone there's a massive mandate for him and everybody wants to be his friend. And then, whoops, the brakes got put on. The other thing that's really interesting about this is, yes, there are real consequences to a government shutdown. Elon Musk doesn't understand that. He thinks a government shutdown is great. He thinks we should shut down the government entirely until Donald Trump becomes president. Obviously, real people are hurt. Millions of real people are hurt by that. But here's the train wreck that's coming. Here's the deal. You got 40 Republicans that have never voted, or around 40, that have never voted to extend the debt limit without spending cuts. And Trump is against spending cuts. Elon Musk thinks he's going to do all these spending cuts. Donald Trump doesn't want spending cuts. He blew the deficit up. He loves to spend money. He loves debt. He thinks debt is the way to success. He doesn't care about the debt. So he said last night, after his failure, do not do a deal without extending the debt limit all the way till after my next term. So there's going to be a train wreck here between Elon Musk, who thinks he's going to cut $2 trillion out of the deficit, out of the budget, and Donald Trump, who frankly could give a rat's you know what about cutting any spending.
And some of the spending, as was pointed out yesterday, that is being cut, really important, even life-saving measures that, frankly, add up to a pittance in the grand scale of this spending deal. And our friend Sam Stein highlighted one of these with a new piece in the Bulwark, which details that one of the key items missing out of the Republican-crafted government legislation is funding for a cancer research program named after a 10-year-old Virginia girl who died from an inoperable brain tumor in 2013. It originally passed back in 2014 in a deal between congressional Republicans and then President Obama, a Democrat. But now it needs to be extended. Negotiators thought it would sail through, at least until Elon Musk went on an X rampage, tweeting that the bill was antithetical to conservative small government ambitions and threatening primaries of lawmakers who supported it. And Gene, Sam also yesterday highlighted on Twitter a research group that does work with helping children with cancer. Their tweet from a few days ago celebrating that they thought this vital funding was going to be included, and now suddenly it's out.
Yeah, I mean, it'll come as a surprise to Elon Musk, I guess, but this is what the government does. The government funds for research, not just cancer research, not just research on children's cancer, which obviously is vitally important and much needed, but all kinds of research, including basic research that doesn't have immediate application, but that leads to world-changing inventions and discoveries. That's a hugely important thing that our government does that seems to be directly in the crosshairs of Doge and Elon Musk and those who just frankly don't understand what our government is, much less what it does. And just a question for Chris Matthews, just because Chris, you have seen everything, you haven't seen this. Where do we go from here? The Republicans do not have a majority and will not have a majority on any spending bill, right? We should stop saying they have any sort of majority. And in fact, because of those 30 or 40 who will never vote for essentially increased spending. So how do we get past this? And does it take Donald Trump just to put his foot down? He seemed to try to do that yesterday. It didn't seem to work. What happens?
Well, I think one of the reasons this whole problem is happening this weekend, which is probably a government shutdown, is the message sent by Senate Republicans. They've got 53 seats in the Senate, a real majority. They can take a couple of losses. But, they've been eating everything this guy's thrown at them. All the dead fish he's given as nominees for department heads, and Pam Bondi and Bobby Kennedy Jr. Give me a break. HHS for Bobby Kennedy Jr. Are you kidding? We're talking about whether we're going to investigate Jonas Salk and the Salk vaccine for polio. And the greatest president of the 20th century was Franklin Roosevelt, who had polio. And Mitch McConnell, who had polio, and we're really talking about investigating Salk vaccine. Is that what we're doing here with the government? I think the Democrats have got to call they ought to call them out right now or next week or so. Just say, look, are you getting rid of the Department of Education? Put up or shut up. I don't want to hear any more about it. Are you going to get rid of that department? Are you going to get rid of the Peace Corps? Tell us all of the things you're going to get rid of, and do it right now. Tell us what you're really going to do. What are you throwing out the window, throwing in the trash can? Tell us now. Because you got to call this guy, and you got to make him stand up for the nonsense he believes in. Trump is running against government. Let's let it face. He's not running against any part of the government. He's running against the government. He doesn't like the Federal Department of Justice because they're going to get him. He doesn't affect all the people that tried to tear down the Capitol on January 6th. He wants to free all those people, pardon them all. He's the bad guy. You got to understand, he's the bad guy. And he's going to cut what he doesn't like, and it could be anything that Musk thinks of. And Musk is an idiot. He may be a genius at making money, but we have got to kill this habit of thinking everybody knows how to make money with e-cars or whatever else, who somehow knows something about civics. He doesn't know anything about running the House of Representatives. He doesn't know anything about getting a majority vote. Howard Baker said you have to get to the third grade to be able to know how to win in the Senate. That's called 51 votes. You got to understand it. This clown, and he is a clown, knows nothing about government. He knows all about making money. And Bernie, one time, I actually agree with Bernie Sanders this time around. He's one of those millionaires and billionaires that are stay out of our face. They make money, okay. But stop running the United States government. And that's what Musk is doing right now this weekend. The only theory I do have, and I love it, is that Trump is planning to destroy Elon Musk. He puts him out there in the beginning, late in the Biden administration, and he has him destroy himself because he can't work with the Congress. He can't put together a coalition. He can't get 218 votes, which is the name of the game in the House of Representatives. 218. I lived with that for 6 years with Tip O'Neill. If you don't get 218, you lose. Tell him that. And blame it all on Musk. And I think Trump would like to get rid of his new partner, his new dancing partner. Whoa. I don't think he really wants him around. He doesn't like him around. He's basically been saying already, when are you leaving? I think he means it.
I think that,
as he often does.
Watching the relationship between Trump and Musk unfold in the coming months will certainly be a fascinating spectator.